to the 2400 Block Podcast with your hosts, Jonnyroobs and Ken.
We're on and we're live over here at the 2400 Block Podcast.
Yes.
What's poppin'? What it do? We coming through, nephew. What's poppin'? What it do? We coming through, nephew.
Here we go. Live video is starting.
Shout out to Snoop Dogg's for that one. Nephew. What's good, nephew?
All right. We are live.
Heck yeah. So it's we're live, and regardless of whether we have a guest or not today, we are about to photo jam it out. Yep. You know, like what is it? I forgot that song, Walk It Out. Oh, walk it out, oh, walk it out, oh, walk it out, oh, walk it out. Walk it out like Usher. If you say real talk, I probably won't trust you. Yeah, we're gonna walk it out today.
All right. It's showing as one viewer live. That must be one of us. I know.
I think
sure
it's
one of us.
It might be like our stunt doubles. Right on time. There she is, Molly. Molly, I was working on your name and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try because, you know what? As you say in PhotoJam, we're making the world better.
Exactly.
Okay, I'll tell you, it's Molly.
Molly.
I swear to God, you have a last name, Molly.
That's not my last name.
It's not.
Was that you're gonna attempt my last name?
But I know you're familiar with the song "Molly" by Sponge. Come on, 16 candles down the drain. Down the drain, down the drain. I'll serenade you the next time. I have to learn the words.
Okay, that would be good. So hi, are we already recording? Are we starting already?
Oh
yeah. We are starting.
We always start like this. Just talking amongst each other, waiting for the guest, or maybe we just talk all at once.
Well, I'm
wanted to welcome here, Molly.
Well, hi y'all. It's nice to meet you.
It is awesome. You know, we were talking about, we were kind of going over photography. And for me, it's been a hot minute because I'm a trained photographer, and, you know, the whole college days was so long ago. So I was like, okay, let's do this. So we welcomed you. I'd like to thank...
Are you talking about the trains, like the graffiti on the trains?
You know, I actually have a graffiti on the trains. I didn't put that in my lineup, but I come from a teacher that he went to the Art Center Pasadena in California.
Okay.
And yeah, that's like the Harvard of art schools on the West Coast. And I'm glad that you're on because my training is not... you know, forgive me for saying this, and I referenced Seinfeld, the you know, suit Nazi, the photography Nazi. It was like the chopping block, you know. So you have a more loving thing. So you know, definitely like to welcome you. It's the way I've discovered it's a very diverse and no judgment, kind of a hug type of place, and I think that's an amazing place right now. Versus people that are judging like the shows we watch. So
I'm so glad that is what you read, because that's exactly right. I mean, we have 3 rules at PhotoJam, and that's no contest, no judgment, and no politics.
No politics. Well, speaking of politics, I wanted to say shout outs to all the viewers that are actually here watching us talk about no judgment, no politics. And that's actually good because I'm a big mental health person, and being talked about or ridiculed is a very one. I'll tell you one story about my teacher. Shout out to Mr. Morley over there, an alumni over at the Art Center. So anybody watching the 2400 block right now, we have Molly. Can you say your last name for us, Molly?
Schlachter.
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 I was going to go Schlachter, but
It
Schlachter.
has a lot of consonants in that last name.
You know what? I'm an English guy, so I'm all about the challenge. So welcome to the podcast. We are so delighted to have you
Yes, we are.
because the one of the biggest things that I'm about, and right now I'm on a mental health journey and recovery. Just so you know, I'm a recovering suicide. I'm a veteran, United States Navy veteran, and one of the biggest things is being in a world where everybody's so judgmental. You're watching, these reality TV shows, and everybody has this stacked up version, what you got to look like, feel like, and be like. And Rubes was, he was saying, I hope you like. We were passing our pictures so we can get ready for
Yeah.
Molly because he said Molly has these amazing pictures, and then Mr. Morley was talking. I call it the Morley barometer. I only heart pictures that speak volumes, and I'm like, oh God, I sound unloving right now. So tell us about the PhotoJam.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask y'all. Like you said, send me pictures. We're gonna do this. Da da da. You're gonna choose your pictures, and I don't remember how many I sent you. Not
I think about
10,
seven.
7.
So far.
I
Yeah.
cheated. I sent 14. I'm a
Yeah.
I'm a cheater. You know what? I'm saying it out loud, people. I'm a cheater. I had to send more.
No, that's not cheating. It's
I'm
actually
right
we
up
all
your game there,
cheated.
Ken. I'm right closer to you too. I think I'm about 14 or maybe 15. Yeah. I
When
think I
I
picked like three more.
when people join PhotoJam, they send I limit it to 2 to 3 pictures. I say you can send
Oh.
2 to 3, and three's the limit.
Oh,
That's
nice.
So
good.
It's not
because
bad.
when you come into a jam, there could be 10 people
Mm-hmm.
in the jam, and so I give every photo time, and to get through 10 photos takes the whole hour easily, right? So
Then and the
people
funny thing
send me
about
2 to 3, and then I just pick one.
Uh-huh.
you know what? In school, I sat there and we had to actually present this. I call it the chopping block because we know when we get there, it wasn't going to be pretty, and you're trying to, when you take a bunch of photos, you have to narrow it down to the best one. So 2 or 3, it would be stressful for me, but you know what? That's a caliber. So
I think it's more stressful to just send one, but
yeah.
people send 2 or 3, and they're often surprised at which one I pick. So.
Mm.
Well, Rubes, what do you think about the whole critique process when it comes to photography?
Oh, I find it really cool. It's one way to, step up your game on the next one. It's always good to get some good feedback.
Yeah, like I said, it's the Morley barometer.
Uh-huh.
The reason why I call it that is because not because of the judgmental aspect, more of like you were saying, Rubes, the in a split second, and I have ADHD and autism. In a split second, I'm looking at center ground, foreground, background. I'm looking at
Mm-hmm.
composition. I'm looking at things moving. I can adjust. That's what goes on because of that. Because this gentleman, coming from the alumni, was my beginning,
Uh-huh.
immediate, and advanced teacher. So it
uh,
was a little bit, stressful coming in there. And I didn't put this in there, but I had an egg photography, and all he wanted was an egg. That was it. I went and got an egg.
Uh-huh.
I looked
egg.
online. I created Humpty Dumpty. Um, I mean, literally, I took it to a next level. And although I got an A, he still was like, all I was looking for. And he had a fisheye lens,
Uh-huh.
and all he had is a fisheye lens with him when a person holding the egg. He showed the feet, and I
Uh-huh.
was like, well, you told us to, be ourselves. And me, I'm like so far out of the box. I didn't even know there was a box.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
Good one.
I mean, we really are being ourselves on PhotoJam, and it's not, I always say in art,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's photography, any kind of visual artist or music, or there is no best and there's no comparing. Like you can't say Warhol is better than Picasso, is better than Basquiat, or you can't compare
Right.
Michelangelo, one artist to another
Yeah.
artist, because the whole thing about art is that it's your unique voice, and no one looks at the world like you do.
Well, I mean, what got you into the photography? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a photographer. That's what I do. I like in real life, that's what pays the rent. And when COVID happened, I
Mm-hmm.
found this great creative desire when we were all, locked down
Yeah.
and
Lockdown.
didn't, I mean, we were
It's
all like,
true. Very
Yeah.
true.
yeah, we were like sitting at home in quarantine or whatever. And I just realized that that's my drugs. That's what really
Well
can
said.
nurses my soul.
Well
The
said.
creativity was stifled, and I knew a lot of creatives that were in the same boat. And so we started connecting. And the other thing that happened in COVID is I started connecting with people that weren't living in my same town.
Okay.
I started
Yeah. Wow.
talking to friends in LA and New York and
Networking.
just
Uh-huh.
all over the place. I mean, they
Did
were my friends that we hadn't like caught up as well as we did during that lockdown.
did you like for I'll tell you for me, photography saved my life. Again, and I don't mean to sound dark, but I came to a point in life where, I played by the rules and it's not working. And maybe 2011, I went from point and shoot to actually taking it more seriously. But it saved my life because I had an attempt at that time that I got through it, and photography saved me. And then here comes Mr. Morley, taking me to a
They're
next
more
level,
like
and I'm a next level person. So, for you, did it define you, or you kind of found it?
I've always liked art. I'm kind of an art school dropout, and I was a teacher for a
Oh.
dozen
Oh,
years. And
amazing!
when I switched majors I switched from art to English, and then I was an English teacher. But I just thought
Yes,
was,
English, love it.
I'm not judging anybody's grammar here, but when I was, when I when I started studying the creative writing, which is what I studied, I just felt like it was another medium, art, photography,
Yeah.
writing. It's all, you can get that in that flow with each of those,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, from teacher to English, English, and for everybody that's watching, we're not talking about just speaking English. We're talking about literary organization and to be able to express yourself. So,
Yeah.
going from that to
Hmm.
photography, was it like something like a life changing thing for you, or just kind of like a
I,
hobby?
well, I decided that teaching wasn't I was teaching high school, and I
Mm-hmm.
decided that I had paid my dues and I was
Shout out to
ready to
teachers.
get out of the system. And I always told my kids that if I left my school, I taught in the city here in Lancaster, and I said, if I ever leave this school, which I love my school, I love my kids, I'm leaving education. And I did. I left the school. I was done with, I guess there was a lot of pressure for me to not to get into anything that's slightly political, but to teach to the test and da, da. I
No, I
just
mean,
wanted to close my door and like
yeah,
us against the world, and we were going to write and
yeah.
read and do our thing.
I mean,
So once,
politics is the world. So, I mean, for you, let's keep it real. Like, you come across people that study to be a lawyer, and then I've known people that go from lawyer to professional Lego builder. I mean, seriously, the world is shown us that we must follow this, rat race and this mold that doesn't fit us. And so I think photography was something that was just a natural flow for you. I'm guessing.
I just picked up a camera and I was like, I picked up a camera and became obsessed with it. Totally
Mm-hmm.
self-taught. I never took a photography class, learned how to do anything. I mean, I have like some general stuff from art school and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
mostly I just devoured anything I could find that would teach me. And I shot
Nice.
everything and I just did it. And here I am a whole bunch of years later. I'm sitting in my studio and
I
I
love how you
haven't.
say a whole bunch. You see these gray hairs, people? A whole bunch is a number. Okay.
Yeah. We don't want to talk about how many.
Yeah, I
A
mean,
whole
I,
bunch of years.
I mean, I've watched, you know, Johnny over here just pick up a camera, and I had no idea that this guy. I thought I looked up to him because he's a. I mean, when it comes to art, I mean, we're talking about, back on we don't call the vlogs, the blogs, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't, I wasn't really into that. I was just really into myself, not selfishly, but I was just kind of figuring things out. But Johnny, like, I mean, it seems like it was the same thing for you as I watched you pick up the camera.
Yeah. It's
I can't
the
wait
same
to see
thing.
your pictures.
I mean,
I,
I've watched him pick up the camera, and at that time I was kind of like, nah, I'm a family guy near the heart.
yeah.
I just wanted to love my family with all my heart. But then the person that was really, wanting to be out there was the artist in me. So I kind of was living vicariously through Johnny over here,
Yeah.
and you. Now that I know
Yeah.
you, I was living
I remember
vicariously
back then I
through
had those little cameras, those like Nikons, the one they sell in the store. And just a few years ago, I just, picked up the DSLR and just started taking pictures wherever I went,
Yeah,
Here's my camera to show
taking
you.
advantage of it. Okay.
oh no way!
Oh my, wow.
Is that like a retro to the
It's
It's
like
my phone.
it's like an
My
Oh,
add-on accessory. Oh,
I love it. You
I
know
thought it
what?
was an
You
add-on
know what?
accessory.
I am going to tell you something that's amazing because coming from where I came from, I actually judge myself. So I'm actually really grateful that you're on. I went from DSLR, and then when I became a truck driver in 2015, you go from taking pictures, and then you put them into your SD card. Then you got to put them into the slot. Then you got to go to Photoshop, and then you got to and it becomes very difficult when you're driving 14 hours a day trying to come back to your passion. So the phone, and I think that's an iPhone 14 or 15, right?
I think it's a
I,
14. I got it
yeah.
last year. So,
I mean, the phone is where my most of my photography for the probably the last maybe 9 years has been. And most people don't know about the raw stuff. Even though Apple has their own version of raw, I judged
mhm.
myself big time, and I was like, I beat myself. Oh, I'm not on my DSLR. But I could not contend with the time frame on post production, and then you got PicArt and not
You have
plug in
time for
PicArt.
that.
Yeah, these are quick apps, and now you got AI. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's so what you have there, and I'll tell everybody that's watching, you're okay to have an iPhone if you're
Oh,
not picking up a DSLR, you're not trained in it, and just yeah,
Mm-hmm.
oh, absolutely. I mean, that's the part of the no judgment thing. Like in PhotoJam, you could use your phone. About half the people do. I do. I don't know how many pictures I sent to you that were iPhone photos and how
That
many
would be
were
interesting to
actual.
know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So sometimes we find that stuff out. But what we do is pull we'll pull the picture up on a screen,
Mm-hmm.
and no one knows necessarily whose photo it is.
mm,
Just that person is muted, they're silent, they're not allowed to speak when their photo's on the screen. So
Oh.
everybody else
they
is
got the
talking.
melting face emoji, like, oh God, I hope you don't say something horrible.
That's
No, and it
right.
was. I'll tell you this story, and this is now I can tell you the story. So we're in class, and Mr. Morley, he has a very poker face, right? And we're thinking, oh my God, this is as you're shooting your shot before you even get to class. Oh my God, and this is where the morality barometer comes in. So I'm going to go back to the egg photography. So one of the students, she had taken a picture of the egg, and I think it's something. Either the egg was cracked on the stove, and she was cooking the egg or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the shot was great. If you're looking at a shot, you got the trifecta of ISO, shutter speed, and f-stop, and everything was great. It was exposed great. And he said something not I won't say off key, but it was just not the most nicest thing to say to, I think we're in either at no, I think we're in that mediate. And she got up and she cried and left. And that
He
memory,
broke her.
yeah, he broke her spirit.
Mm.
Mr. Molly, I'm not talking about you, but I hope she's a photographer today, but I imagine, with that pause or the silence, that the people are not made to feel nothing more than, hey, we're just looking at this from a, even a subjective. There is not an objective when it comes to critiquing.
Well, as you know, we all have those like scars on us creatively. Because like when we were little kids, we would just, throw anything on a page and create, and
Yeah.
it was great. It was authentic and it was beautiful. And then as we grow, we get those scars, like, and you get more inhibited. And now that we're a whole bunch of years later, right?
Yeah.
We 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 have all those scars that kind of inhibit us from our creativity. So
Mhm.
allowing yourself to get into that creativity, and if you've practiced photography or if you've practiced any kind of art, you get into that flow state.
Yeah.
Flow
You,
state.
Flow
yeah.
I
state.
rarely hear people say that, and I'm going to let you tell it from but flow state is a very important aspect of anything, but in photography, that flow state is that place between skill, the intuitive world, and just a no time, no place, and nowhere. So explain flow state.
I mean,
Yeah.
I call it, and I shouldn't. I have to come up with a better word for it, but I call it the drugs.
Hmm.
And
No,
it's
no, that's a great because I trust me. When my camera almost got lost, I cried like a bass head probably, um, because it's my drug of choice. But it's not, the camera is just a tool.
it is.
Um, but your perspective, your eye, and how you see it is is the photographer. So if people they feel, "Oh, I'm not a photographer," if you know how to see and capture something with your mind alone, the camera is just saying, I'm going to record that light right now.
Yeah.
You push
Mhm.
this button, and hopefully you make sure your ISO is at a pretty good, so we can capture it. We won't worry about the f-stop. If it's
Yeah.
blurry or whatever, you can take
Yeah.
any photo, and it's amazing. So yeah,
Well,
the
I'm
drug
really glad that you mentioned mental health because that's
big.
really, it's huge. I mean,
Yeah,
and it's huge for PhotoJam, it's not really a mental health platform, but it is a huge byproduct that I hear from the people that come to PhotoJam a lot. When they look forward to it Thursday night, we come to PhotoJam, and it's something, it's community, it's creativity, and it has all those things that really elevate you. Because if you go to like a camera club, I think what they do is they try to tell you how to
Oh.
do it better, or even a
yeah,
class. Like, God bless Mr. Morley, but you go to a class, they're trying to
yeah,
tell you how to do it. In PhotoJam, we're just looking for how you are doing it and where
yeah,
are you strong? Where
yeah.
are your strengths? We're not looking for, oh, you should have cropped it this way or that way, because who are we to say we're not the artist?
Yeah, and I try my best. I'm not gonna lie, Rubes. When I saw that wonderful little gelatinous bubble that's what you took a picture of, I was like, I know it was a. We call it stitching. When you take you literally panorama and
Yeah.
iPhone,
Mm.
it does it for you. But when we were in class, we literally take 60 pictures,
Mm-hmm.
and you literally stitch them together to create that shot. But again, we have AI and all of that. But I'm old school where I'll literally do that. But I mean, Rubes, I mean that shot was amazing, and even though I was going to crop it, what's your story behind your photography?
Oh, it's just all about experimenting. And
Yeah.
when I'm in the moment, and when I project it with my own eyes, I'm like, this is probably going to look good on the camera. But sometimes what you capture on the camera is not, what you see. Sometimes, sometimes you may shoot it differently. You may shoot it wrong, wrong filter or wrong, aperture and whatnot. But when you're in that moment, dude,
Yeah, that's the flow
it's all
state.
just yeah.
The drug, the
Mm,
The
flow
drug.
state.
there you go. Yeah.
And for people that don't understand or don't know the word flow state, I'm just going to say it because I'm a total neural nerd. Um, I am. I love the mind, and the mind. Most people don't understand that the richest place in the world is the mind, consciousness specifically, because we have, like you were saying, Rubes, that you have an image in your head and you want to convey that image,
Right.
and you're like, okay, all right, what should I bracket my shot? Bracketing meaning you have a lower exposure, a middle exposure, and a higher exposure. You can take all those and and combine them and make a shot in post production.
Yeah.
But when you don't get that shot, for me personally, the perfectionist comes out. And one of the reasons why I haven't shot, because I had a event that I did in 2014. It was a 20s event for New
Mm.
Year's, and I called myself
Ooh.
back up all my shots on my Seagate backup drive. But you got to have a drive first, then you put it on the backup drive, and it
Yeah.
says Seagate backup drives. In my brain, this is the backup drive, and I dropped the backup drive on the floor, and I'm thinking, oh, this is Seagate. I'm going to call their help desk, and everything's going to be a great. They couldn't recover it. It damaged my soul. I'm not gonna lie, because
Yes.
I actually really took the time to meet. I was actually working for a company called Sunrun. Everybody knows Sunrun now for solar, and
Uh-huh.
we're out there in San Diego, and we're staying at the Lafayette Hotel. Very beautiful hotel. If you get a chance to stay out there in San Diego, very I think it's a landmark out there. And I took pictures, and I was talking to the marketing guy, and I got every I got a chance to I won the slot to do the nears, and I dropped the photo. I dropped and I beat myself up more. It's a big part of my mental health is loving myself. But yeah, it damaged me. But I when I look back at it now, I'm thinking these people weren't even mad at me. This perfectionist in me
Mhm.
is the what would want it. And I to me, we were told that you're not taking a picture, you're capturing a moment, which is completely different, because that's stealing in a way. If you want to say words, you're stealing a moment. You're not doing that. You're by capturing. So you're right, Rubes. It's having your mind geared up to get that camera to record. So with that said, let's look at some photos.
Oh.
Cool.
Let's
I'm
stop
gonna go.
talking about it and be about them.
I'm gonna go into it.
Photo jam
I'm gonna
with
do a little bit of some
love.
screen sharing here.
So wait, are we gonna
So you're gonna see it as it is. By the way,
are we gonna say
regarding the
whose photo it is? You're not gonna say whose photo it is, right?
not yet.
Okay.
Oh, the element of
This
surprise.
is the best part. We would actually they would tell us, that's why I said it wasn't a loving, and we evolved as humans where
Hmm.
Mr. Morley was a commercial photographer. So the reason why his position was that because he's a professor and he's looking to exude the best of you. So it
Mhm.
wasn't nothing more than that was his role as a coach. You're not going to,
I mean, I have, yeah, he was doing what he does because there are lots of techniques and things that you can do to make it visually appealing, and it's just how you gather that stuff yourself and use it,
I
right?
mean, and the other part of it is when you're talking about names like Annie Leibovitz, Rolling Stones photographer,
Yeah.
Ansel Adams, stuff like that. That's what puts you in a mindset to you want to pay homage to photography when you start hearing names like that set the tone for photographers. Then you got 10 type photographers. Then you got I forgot what it's called when you take the it's like the magnetic field around um, live a life, and it shows you literally the electromagnetic field around an image. But there's so many types of photography out there that there was no need to ever feel any way except happy that you had clicked the button and got something, you know? So with that said, let's
Yeah.
start judging.
Oh,
Chop, chop,
before
chop,
I
chop,
get
chop.
into that, Ken, remember the part where I said I wanted to project it as I see it through my eyes? I remember the
Yeah, yeah.
Florida sunset that I was facing, and I wanted that so bad from what it's seen through my eyes. But when I had it on camera, it's just different. You know, the hues, the saturation, everything was just not what it looks like. So
Yeah, and going
That
back to what I
is
said
really
is that,
typical stuff.
yeah,
yeah,
and I'll ask you, Molly. And to this day, I cannot throw or delete away uh, for my own anxiety purposes. I don't, but even if it's overexposed, I'll take it to I'll grayscale it and then I'll play with the tones. But there a photo can always see some kind of artistic value in any way, or you can take it and actually, do a composite shot with other shots. I can, I'm not bragging because I love photography and editing that much. I can take pieces of of anything and make a shot, and you'll never know it wasn't taken in camera. Because I mean, that's what I'm saying.
It's
Your
so much
mind, yeah, it's fun. There's so much
fun.
things. So capturing is just how you see it with the mind's eye. So there is no judgment, like you said.
you ready, Ken?
Yeah, let's start judging. I'm kidding.
Oh, we don't judge.
We don't judge. We
Ooh.
That looks cool, Ken. I love that.
So
that.
what let me just say how we would approach this at PhotoJam. When I
Okay.
start a jam, I use the Socratic method to guide the conversation, but I also start with a couple of words and I ask people to write them down at the beginning of the jam. And they could be words like perspective or emotion and people will use that to just sort of guide. But basically, I want people to say the first thing they see, the first thing they think, how it impacts you as the audience of a photo.
Mm. So the audience would be in this case us or the actual audience because we don't have any callers.
We're the audience. Right now, we're the audience. And so usually in PhotoJam, there's a lot more people, but so it's a lot of voices. But this is your photo, Ken, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
it's Ken's.
So
So
we,
I'll let you guys tell me what you see and feel on it.
yeah.
It's a lot of depth.
For
I
me, that's I'm a truck driver, and that was my first load
Oh,
hauling humongous reels of wires that go for the utility company in San Diego, and it came from I want to say uh,
Are you telling us what the picture is already before we've had time to
oh.
and to psychoanalyze you?
I'm used to telling about the shot, so I'll let you PhotoJam it.
So, I mean, I look at this, I look at this photo and I think it feels very heavy. How does it feel to you,
yeah,
Johnny
it
Rubes?
does. Yeah,
Feels very heavy. It feels very stark. The texture is, I mean, it's a lot of texture. I'm leaning into the camera so I could see closer.
yeah, especially in the front, the foreground.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you can actually zoom in. That's awesome. I didn't know you could do that on this one.
Can I zoom in? Oh,
You
I can.
can.
Wow.
You have permission.
Oh, that's great. I can move around. So, what would be the story you would tell about this? Not you,
Well,
Kay.
not
Not you.
me. Okay.
Ah, that feels like so much what we're going through every day.
I mean, it's just anchor. That's the
just holding
word,
on.
holding on, anchoring.
Yeah.
I can't really tell what this is. It feels like a train. I mean, I know it's not a train, but it just echoes of like the train wheels. You can't see my cursor, right? So that's not helping.
Oh, you can
And
actually. Okay.
Can you see my cursor? No.
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 All right.
Okay.
You ready for the next one?
No, wait, but I want to
Oh,
hear
okay.
what. Okay.
Oh,
Go ahead. Now
okay.
you tell me like what is your story with this?
So again, it was even though I kind of cheated, but I'm not that big of a cheater, by the way. I just get a little excited. And I haven't really gotten a chance to look back at this stuff. The way I take photos, I take them at the speed of light. So this was a moment where I was hauling for a company called Tri-State Motor Transit. Uh, they haul for the military, and they actually haul the note for from Einstein for the atom bomb. So the company goes way back. So this is they what they are big spools of telephone pole wires, and we didn't get. And I'll be honest with you, we didn't get the biggest training on keeping these things secured for 2,000 miles, and we're going up and down, and we had to. If you look at the very top of there, it's like a little. It looks like maybe like tinfoil.
Yeah.
That's actually gorilla tape.
Oh, wow.
That seems
It's
so fragile.
Yeah, you think oh this big old and the reason for it is when you're traveling down the road every like 50 to 100 miles you want to check your chains because when they start getting loose those things are only really held in place by those that they're wood right where my logo is those are wood 2x4s that kind of keep them from rolling back and forth. There's three those chains are anchoring chains and there's 3 points of contact and that tape is what keeps the chains that are the slack from flapping around.
That's
So
that you say like it's gorilla tape and wood. I mean, the photograph feels so powerful. I
yeah,
feel a lot of power in this photo just from the angle and the texture. It just feels huge and powerful. So it's funny that you would indicate something that's so flimsy as
yeah, it's powerful in the sense that those spools are huge, and I wish I had a full photo of carrying them, but I took that angle because I love angles, love them. I love going, and I actually kind of got in trouble with my second wife, and we're not married because she was very judgmental. She wasn't photo jamming. Um, I love angles. I love angles to the point if I lost my life taking a shot, I know I did something that I
no,
love.
no, don't do that.
I'm not at all, but I love photography that much that I look at my composition from so many different angles. And you're right. Now that I look at it, I didn't really look at it that way, but they look like train wheels anchored down to a.
Yeah.
It looks strange. I just like the power and the texture on the chain is what I really loved. Like you were
Hmm.
saying, the textures.
Hey, Ken, when I see that on the road, it looks like Final Destination. You
It
may never know when
does.
those things like come off.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're ever traveling behind a truck driver that has this, you don't
Mm-hmm.
know whether they're new like I was. And
Uh-huh.
they
Oh
did get to
no.
their destination safely, and I was going up hills with those. But I looked at YouTube for about 2 or 3 minutes, and I just went with it and a little bit of training they gave us, and they got there safely. But you may want to think about being behind these things, is what I was saying. You will be
Thank
a pancake.
that.
That Gorilla
So,
Tape looked transparent too.
it is. It was
Yeah.
very, the good thing about that Gorilla Tape is it may sound flimsy, but if
Uh-huh.
you ever get this Gorilla Tape and use it, I don't know, to shut someone up or something, uh, they will shut up forever. That tape is strong.
Oh,
I am serious. It's very strong. So it's a very delicate looking tape, but it's it's just as powerful as the change you see anchoring those very. That's probably about, I'll say about 18,000 pounds of something like that.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wowza. Wowza, wow.
yeah. So the trucking, I haven't seen these pictures in a long time, so it's actually very cool to see that. And that is shot with a iPhone.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I didn't have I didn't I just could not. And one, when you're shooting, it's hard to protect your camera equipment when you're shooting like that out there. So an iPhone, much cheaper than $5,000 worth of equipment. Lenses being the most expensive, and the glass and everything is. So iPhone became just you know
Mm-hmm.
It's
Apple.
what
They
That's
Go
what you
ahead.
have in on you, right? I mean, that's the important thing. It's like, what's the best kind of tripod? The one you have on you. So same with camera.
Actually, I've learned, much like a sniper, because I had a friend who was a sniper. When you want to get a shot and you know that your shutter speed has to be around 60 in order for you not to worry about it and have any blurring, but when you have to get down to 50 or below, I hold my breath for shots.
Yep,
I mean,
yep.
like seriously hold my breath for as long as it takes to get
For one
that.
fiftieth of a second, right?
Yeah, exactly. 1/50th of a second. And when you get to 1/50th and below, you're
Hmm.
sketched trying to do it without an iPod. But for me, iPods, I'll be honest, they cramp my style because I have to be stuck and I can't get an angle unless I use one of those things where it curls around and all that. And
It's a different vibe,
yeah, and I'm shooting at the speed of light, so I don't have time for all that setup. I just got to
right?
shoot. I'm a truck driver. I got to get to my destination too. I don't have time for all that setup. So
What else you got for us, Johnny Rubes?
what else do we got here?
Oh my gosh.
Experiences. Uh-huh. Yeah, tell us about that, Ken.
Well, the photo jams, she wants to marinate with these, so I'll let her marinate
Oh, okay.
and I'll let her direct it because
Oh
I like
yeah.
her style.
Yeah,
Oh my God. I
let's
love
go.
coming at a photograph like not knowing. I mean, like giving me some time to digest and giving everybody a little bit of time to sort of hyper focus on the photography is something we don't always do. Like we can
Mm-hmm.
go into a museum and it's like, oh, look at that. And like within seconds, we're moving on to the next one very often,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
PhotoJam, we are looking at them for extended periods of time where the more you look at something, the more you see.
Yeah, and you set that around the point, and that's actually very good for me because I do have ADHD, and when I hear silence, um, I'm thinking, oh my God, this shot must be horrible, or
No.
whatever. And life has you moving at the speed of light anyway. So yeah, and everything is about okay, next, next. So that's why you have a society where I call it the ADHD society because everybody only has 3 seconds to be entertained by something. But I'm not about being entertained. I'm all about striking a chord in someone and and getting different perspectives. Like when you said the train, I mean,
Hmm.
didn't even cross my mind, but I like the way you make it, set it up to where time is taken to study and really pay attention to the shot. So I'm very grateful that this,
You do
I
so.
see myself in your community. That's for sure.
I mean, I love it. And it's to me it's intellectual joy, but it's very meditative. Like just staring at this photograph, I see this radiating out. Like obviously
mm-hmm.
these lines are going out, and then we have the cross in the middle. We have in the center circle, we have radiating, and then the outer circle we have radiating.
Yeah.
And it's just a scan. So it's sort of this, is it a side view? And then we have all that we're looking at. And then you bring in the texture of this what is the rope thing that's kind of hugging it together at the bottom
It reminds me of a seat belt.
Yeah.
and bringing some sort of kind of grounding
Yeah.
to the photograph because it is so out, 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 out. And then we have that, what is that called? That rope.
They're actually very, very strong um,
It has a name.
nylon straps.
Yeah,
They're
the
very,
strap.
very, yeah.
Hmm.
So those straps, I didn't actually have three chains, but those are just as powerful to go through the middle over to the other side. So they go from one side to the other, and every time you ever secure one of these things, it has to be 3 points of contact, and
Yeah.
then that
But we
hugging.
don't, as the audience to this, we don't know what this is. For
It's
me, looking at this, not with no idea of what it is, it feels just its structure, its shape, its angle, its contrast. I mean, your
Yeah.
use of black and white is off the chain and off the chain.
Thank you.
Chain.
I love it. Molly, you are my friend. She's off the chisel, my people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that's what I think we would talk about in here. And then there's this other kind of question mark about it, which is we have the main structure, and then off on the right, the bottom right, what is that? It's almost like a little
That cable?
accordion-like, if that's what it feels like
Oh,
to me, some kind of accordion-like something.
Oh, you're talking about off to the very
the
back
bottom
side
right?
of it?
Oh, yeah.
The
That
part
is,
that's not encompassed in the circle.
Oh, in the circle. Okay.
In
oh,
the
that,
larger circle, what is that on the bottom right? It's just a little sliver of whatever it is.
yeah, what it is the actual inside spooling the wires of the actual, what's in, what is the product itself.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So that's like a little sliver
Oh,
of the next spool.
Yeah.
oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So the most
Well,
powerful thing, is it my turn to like explain it?
yeah, you can explain it.
So again, I love angles, and the fun part about angles, it could be the same exact subject matter, but as soon as you change an angle, now for me, what I saw when I was getting this angle was the cross, and it has a very powerful,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Christian, Jesus Christ crucifix about it. Now, I'm not religious, but I would call myself an omnist, a respecter of all religions. I'm more of a monist perspective, whereas a oneness. But it was just a powerful shot that just, you wouldn't know what it is, but the main thing you see is this tugging at the middle of a
Yeah.
cross. It's like,
Yeah.
what, why, and what? You just keep, just like in the Batman movies where pow, and the words come up, question mark come up. Question mark is what I would just keep coming up with when I saw this.
Well,
And I
thank you.
love grayscale.
Thank
If
you
you
for
didn't,
sharing.
yeah, thank
Are
you.
we going to
You
go
know
through
what? We
all?
say that in my recovery group. Thank you for letting me share.
Did we say that at PhotoJam?
I'm gonna fit in so well, God. I'm gonna, I'm a big advocate of mental health, so I'll be there talking about that too.
You know what's really cool? It's like it has that symbolism. What's around the cross, like it looks like it's shining, that part of the wheel.
You're right, and Molly said it perfectly. It
Yeah.
was this cross, and then that radiating.
Mm-hmm.
It's the electromagnetic field that I was talking about. If you ever look, I forgot what the name of the photography is, but it's literally looking at the quantum physics of a life organism. But that's a radiating of the cross, and then there's this anchoring aspect. So if you're talking about a powerful figure in the history of the world, Christianity is that, and it has this very anchoring, powerful, radiating aspect of it.
Nice.
So what else do we got?
Ooh. Street photography.
There goes
Check
the
this.
graffiti.
There's some graffiti. You know what I love? We have this. Um, the first thing that strikes me about this photograph is the photo or the drawing of the dude on the right in
Uh-huh.
red. And so the guy on the skateboard is his hand is cut off. And then the drawing of the guy on the right in red, his hand is like the only thing that's not cut off.
You're right.
Wow.
And so we have this kind of cool balance
Yeah.
of, and I don't know, is he the drawing of a skateboarder too? He's got the helmet on. I can't really tell, but the energy in this photograph is really, really great.
It's very
The
dynamic.
colors kind of, we have, I could probably talk like this for days, but
No, I like the way you think, because you really take the time to study. And you're right, the hand was cut off. But what's funny, if you look at the expressions, if you're able to zoom in, skater actually on the ledge doing was it's a feeble grind. Um, the actual skater on the actual graffiti has a calm, subtle
yeah.
with his hands down. So very calm. Then you got this powerful, jump into the actual trick itself. And that is, those two juxtapositions of facial expressions are to me what like drives the shot, and the line that goes through the whole shot. It's it's a very
Because
powerful.
the line, like I'm seeing the line too. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I feel from the guy in the red on the right. And then we have that kind of zigzag of different, the red, blue, yellow, green that's
Mm-hmm.
going all the way through. And then everything else may as well be in black and white. The guy's wearing all black. He's just kind of got this black and white feel along with um the tree in the background, the concrete below him. So we have, if it were a black and white photo, and then we have this cool, crazy color coming from the skater in red. Again, we have the radiating yellow and oranges out of him, and then kind of it sort of draws your eye back through the photograph.
And not to again bring up Mr. Morley, but he
Mr.
talked about
Morley.
he talked about just what you were saying, which was drawing the eye and direction. So if you look from the I would say that says jokes, and then it points right into the skater himself, and then the actual line through him goes over to the skater that's calm, that's doing a jump, and then you got the trick itself. So it has a balanced zigzag slow down to the actual trick in a line that comes down to the corner. So it black and white shots are amazing. And then when you do like one pop color, then your eye is like,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of like the painting in the color, like doing a black and white and then just showing one, whatever, like a flower and everything else.
Yeah.
I just, I mean, not to judge, I don't want to judge anything, but like
Well, I
this
mean,
is
let's
so
I'm gonna
organic.
stop you for a second. In Even though PhotoJam is a loving environment, we as humans, no matter how you say you're not, we judge in order to make sense. So you're welcome to have your judgment in here because it's not the judgment that we know and think that's here to harm. So yeah, have feel free to judge.
There's a, there's a on PhotoJam, you take little mini lessons for free, and one of them is how to look at photography. And in it, there's a video, not to give it all away, but I mean, I do give it all away, but
Give it all the way, like
there's
Oprah.
a
Woo!
video from Jerry Saltz, who is, I guess, he's an art critic, and he says if you see, I'm paraphrasing completely, or artwork that is challenging to you, that you look at and you're like, I don't think I like that. You start to think, but if I were someone who liked this kind of art, what would I like about it? And then you begin to make a list, and then your appreciation of it really elevates. So I do love this shot. I think it's fantastic. It's got so much going on. But if I didn't like it, like where would I start to think if I were the kind of person that would take a shot like this, what would I be looking at?
That's actually a good way to look at it. Like if you like a shot, and if and actually come and putting yourself in third person. If I
Mhm.
didn't like the shot, I never, and I again I beat myself up when it comes to everything, and I shoot, and then after that, um, it's next. What's
Yeah.
next? But when we're now that we're taking the time to really study it, I you know
Mhm.
I I couldn't really put myself in a, if I didn't like it, what would I? But if I were to just guess, it would be that line. I just really like that line. It's very
And it's
interesting
kind of
in
in the
how it connects.
background, not really, it's like it's like leading you through the photograph, right?
Yeah, and then you have this again, this radiating, um, glorifying the skater in the drawing, almost as if there is this zen like place, when he's and then there's this zen like glorifying aspect of it. If I had to be like, I don't like the shot, but I would see the colorful and the glory in, the all the work that goes into that trick, because there's a lot of work that goes into skating. Most people don't realize that even though sports is amazing, skateboarding is an individual sport, and it's an art, and all the energy and the many times you fall, in my skating, and I stopped because I got hurt a lot. But um, yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into it. So that face actually tells you how much work goes into that. And funny enough, this is actually my best friend, and going into the mental health side because I love it. He was my teammate. And I don't team with anybody in trucking, but he was my only teammate. And because of the stress level, I think he was predisposed to schizophrenia. So my boy Trent, I love you, my friend. He's full blown schizophrenic, and I know that he'll make it through back to this dimension. So he is an amazing skateboarder, and he's very passionate about it too. So you can see
So is
that
this your photo?
it
Yes,
is.
all Ken's photos. Yeah. By the way, I like the usage of the mountains. Like you can soar to different heights when you're skateboarding. That's just what I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? See, I didn't. Because it's black. He's blacked out. Yeah, I didn't. You
Uh huh.
didn't. Yeah, he's actually on top of the valley.
I like
Yeah.
how his shadow kind of the shadow at the foot at his foot and the
Yeah.
skateboard kind of leads into that mountain as a line. So as if that mountain were part of his shadow.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know Rubes was gonna put me on blast like this. But
Are we
and it's
gonna
funny.
are we gonna see all 14 of
Oh,
We will, because
yeah.
we should do an hour, 30 minutes to an hour. But just like you're saying, we take the time to really be here on the block. It's just like the block, it's inspired by Rube's growing up, but the block is, I imagine, anywhere where everybody's just, having a good time. We don't rush a
Mm-hmm.
good time. So yeah, we're having a good time. I hope you are. So yeah, we're not rushing here.
All right. Next one.
Wait a minute. You took this photo?
I'm gonna say yes because I did.
It's
Oh,
a
that's cool.
wow. Wow.
and I'm only gonna let you compliment me because because you have PhotoJam, but I typically don't show my stuff because I don't like being put on a pedestal. I just love the light. You know, I'm a lover of the light, and I love that's actually a snoot light. Um,
Okay, yeah, I can see
yeah,
that.
yeah, and it kind of comes across. And the rest is, of course, post production, and it was just a kind of no remade version of the Black Dahlia.
That's great. So, is this a real book?
It's a book in real life, but that's my depiction of it.
Interesting.
So
Yeah,
nice
so I
That's
take on
took
the
cool.
cover.
That's
I
very
took
creative.
yeah, I took all the font and everything so I can just recreate the book. And if I were to put it on a shelf, that's exactly how I would do it. The model, she actually modeled some nude photography.
Hmm.
But because I wanted to do this one, she decided to model it. And all of the makeup and everything is post production.
Oh,
So
Yeah. Wow.
she didn't, I think she put on some lipstick, but I created a porcelain face. She had that little, scarf. Um,
You
I
filled in
did her
her eyes.
hair. I'm also a kind of a hairstylist. I did her hair and everything so I can get the look and the gradient of the shadow over her eye. And
It's so creative.
yeah,
lighting's cool.
I really take time to study every like when I'm doing my shot, I zoom in all the way to the pixels so I can get to that level of detail with the shot.
Mm.
Wow.
And I didn't know if we were doing photography without font or not, but it's one of my shots that I love the most because it really showcases you know
It's
my
a studio.
perfectionism.
This one's studio versus, I'm assuming, kind of
It
studio.
is studio. It's a studio shot because I needed to use a snoot light, but
Mm-hmm.
that's the only reason why it's studio is because I needed that light to come across her face.
Just the one light.
Just the one light. Yeah.
Nice job.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
pretty
much.
good.
I appreciate that.
You can do my book cover.
I will absolutely do your book cover. I'm itching to get back out there because after that hotel thing, it creeped me out. But um, photography is literally like the way we're doing this right now is so therapeutic for me. I
Is it great?
love photography, and I kind of left it because I didn't want to become what Mr. Morley was is kind of having my intellectual property, you know, just out there like that. To
Hmm.
me, it's therapy, and I would have an art gallery, and I'd be so I'm very modest, so I wouldn't But when you start doing it and selling it, and people start having again these reality TV show level of thought, but when you are shooting and I had to kind of let go of photography when it came to all my shots and start shooting like that. But I kind of don't like the way I did that because I really do enjoy the very fine craft of it. So I do like what you're doing. I very much do because I didn't want to be that photographer that Mr. Morley made me, but it is who I am. And I would teach photography for free. I love
Mhm.
photography.
Well,
Hey,
I'm
Ken, you
looking
can do
for
my book too, Ken.
facilitators. Oh, sorry, Johnny.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay, Ken, you can do my book too. I'm almost finished. I got like 2 chapters to go. By the way, I am writing a book. I'm trying to do it for the first time in my life.
Yes, sir.
Trying to put that into my bucket list. I can try to illustrate by words. I've been into drawings. I've been into doing stuff on Photoshop. Now I'm decided to illustrate just by words alone. So that's a good test for me as
Oh
an
my
artist.
gosh. That's
Yeah,
fantastic. I mean, like I said earlier, it's just another medium, if you ask
yeah,
me.
that's
Writing
right.
and art, the visuals, music,
Mm-hmm.
it's all gets you in that flow. Like I know writing, do you feel like that when you sit down to write, it sort of takes over?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
As a
than
teacher, are
than being
you,
a visionary and just putting it down to words.
Yeah.
Molly, as a teacher, have you entertained things in the scholastic aspect versus your creative side?
What do you mean?
Like writing a book or,
Oh yeah,
just,
that's on my list. That's on my
oh,
list.
nice. So there
I
you go, Johnny. You got to, I mean, I got one too. I got a few of them, but I'm actually
DLR is
very, I
amazing.
was actually inspired because Johnny, he when he mentioned it, I was like, oh, he's really doing this. Okay.
Yeah, because of real life, it's extending. This is what its fifth year, so I'm just like going slowly, getting all the details as possible, and then when I go back and reread what I wrote, I add again on top of it. So it never
Yeah.
stops.
It's exciting.
Yes, it
We
It's
got
the
is.
some
drug.
mutual, we got mutual energy going on here. I'm loving
Yep.
it. So what's next?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm zooming in. So two photos.
Is that the same guy? Is that the same person, Ken, or is that a different one?
It's the same shot too.
Oh,
It's not a separate shot.
Oh,
oh,
wow.
really?
Wait a
Oh,
minute. Wait a minute.
And that's not post production. That's all one shot.
I was about to say.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just trying to analyze how we did this. Clearly a slow shutter speed, right?
Yeah.
And this guy
Yeah.
moved, and the lines through his face from the traffic. So I don't know, Johnny, how long do you think it took? What was the shutter? One
To be
fifth?
honest, I've never experimented with the shutter speed, like going slow. So I might as well start getting into it. Maybe you can educate me more on that.
I
I'm
have never
still.
taken a shot like this,
Oh,
but I'm not really. I mean, this is a yeah, this is a I'm looking for words. This
Wow.
is the puzzle.
That's a
This is the
compliment
puzzle.
when
Like,
you
how do you do
looking
this?
for.
How do you make this? Is the same guy?
Yeah, so it's about, I would say about 30-second long exposure.
Really?
Um yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So if you do it long, you may not get the crispness of like the light standing,
mm-hmm.
the main version of it is the light. So, that is actually an on ramp. The reason why is the light's going through his face.
Yeah.
So what we did is, and this is I can't remember this gentleman, but he's a great photographer too. We were in class and we were all just leveling each other up. So we would go out there and just do crazy stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
isn't that great?
because once you learn a tech something, everything I do, if I learn just the basics, I'm already leveling up 10 steps. So what I did is in 30 seconds, I shot him. I shot the first one of him standing here, and then I walked over and flashed him again. So if you flash and have a person stand, you can actually ghost them in three or four. You can multiply them as many times as you come. Of course, you
That's
have to
so
go a
cool.
little over 30 seconds and be fast. But
Uh-huh.
I wanted to.
Like three flashes?
Yeah, it's the long exposure of the traffic is happening because the long exposure is gonna do that. And
Right.
then I flashed him right at the because I wanted the light to go through his head and come through his face because that's the a car coming, and you have to time all this because there's a car happened to be coming up the on ramp, so you have to
Mm-hmm.
look at it really fast, snap him, and then I had him walk over to the side, and you kind of have to almost in your mind figure out where he's gonna be so you can have him mirrored.
That's why.
So it's a all, but it's all none of it's post production except making sure your lights and everything is kind of sharpened.
Yeah.
But that's
It's
I just for me to me I'm just a next level person, and everything like you said, Molly. I've taught myself all of this. I just
so it's
find
like a tripod? It's a tripod?
The tripod, yes, for the camera to actually, hold a long exposure and everything be still.
Right. So you
But
would
I,
have tripod. So tripod, and then you're like over here. We have 30 seconds, so that's like forever,
yeah,
flash, move around a little bit, flash, and then you get like this guy and his little brother, but it's actually
right.
a guy.
His mini me, I love it.
His, his little brother. That's what I was thinking. Are they like hugging? Like what's happening there? They're, but yeah, it could be brothers, but it's the
It
same
it
dude.
it almost looks like a conjoined twin. Seriously,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like in South Park, you're my conjoined twin, dead thing hanging off your face, woman.
yeah. It's fun.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't even know if this was an actual shot that got critiqued. I think it was just, that gentleman. We just pushed ourselves because we knew that Mr. Morley. So we would try our best to like go so far away from the commercial norm that he couldn't say anything bad about us, and he couldn't necessarily grade us badly. So we were like, all right, we're invincible. We could do whatever we want because he's the one that told us, be yourself. I was like, all right, this is me.
Yep.
Hey, Ken, it must have been cold that night, huh?
Yeah, the Antelope Valley, that is actually Lancaster, Palmdale, in the high desert. So yeah, it gets
Mm,
cold up there.
Hmm.
okay.
California. But Molly, you're in
Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
I knew you said Lancaster. The way you said it, I was like, she's saying Lancaster, but she's saying it the way they do on the East Coast. That is actually Lancaster, California, ironically.
Lancaster versus Lancaster. Lancaster.
Lancaster, yeah,
Wait,
you're Lancaster,
Lanc.
and then there's Lancaster, Texas. So yeah,
Ah,
that's really ironic that you're from Lancaster. It's Lancaster,
Lancaster. There's a kiss
Lancaster.
middle.
Lancaster.
Well,
Lancaster.
like there's Norfolk, Virginia, and then if you're really from there, it's Norfolk, Virginia.
Yep.
That's where I was from.
Oh yeah.
Norfolk.
Yeah. My family's still over there. My parents, my brothers.
So you're from Norfolk, Virginia, and Ken, you're from California?
I was born in Bellflower, California, which is like kind of like suburbia to like the Los Angeles area, but I grew up in Long Beach, Linwood, Compton, Pasadena.
He's been
I
So now
everywhere.
grew up
you're in
all
Chicago.
Yeah, I grew up all over the Southern California area. Then I went to the Navy.
And that's
Okay.
how I met Ken.
Yeah, that's true.
In the
Yeah.
Navy?
No,
Yeah,
in the
a
naval
bunch of
base.
years ago, a
Yeah.
bunch.
A bunch of years. I got it.
None of your business, people.
All right.
Moving right along.
Oh
Oh,
man.
you took up the whole screen on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, for the white shots. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. It is a landscape.
This is great. Like so it's the Cotton Club. It's very 20s
Very retro.
thing, right?
Yeah.
And then she whips out her cell phone.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like looks like the 21st century version of a flapper.
Yep. Wow,
Because that's
that
probably what a
yeah, that's
flapper would have done if they had a cell phone.
100 years ago was the 1920s.
Oh, just like
Yeah.
that, it's 100 years ago.
Just like that. It's 100 years ago. Wowza.
Oh, check out her bling.
I love the coloring in this. Like again with the skateboarder one, there's so much black and white, like
Mm-hmm.
organic black and white in this photograph.
I love the texture of the fur. That
Yeah.
looks really cool.
I love the texture of the phone kind of going with the black and white, but it's like,
Mm-hmm.
just a smidge of color to kind of give it the contrast off the Cotton Club sign. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And of course, her glamorous flapper jewelry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out where the light is coming from. It feels like it's coming from over here.
Spotlight? Oh, spotlight.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a key light. So there is a key light coming
And
from the
is
right.
this a studio shot too?
Actually, it's not. You know that hotel that event? This is from that event.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that event was a 20s event, and I had some studio lighting. It's not a studio, but I had some lighting so I can produced the light needed to glamorize the actual subject. I mean, she had some amazing makeup on. I think her name was Claire. I think I still remember her name, and she whipped out her phone and she wanted to do like a selfie shot, and I was like, God, that would be so amazing. What it would have been like, because flappers were, I think they were so diva back then. They had these long cigarettes, and
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
they would have been
love the
all about the
20s.
selfie, right?
Yeah, they would have been perfect with the if she had her long cigarette with a selfie. I mean, I just love the 20s and how that it was this fun, just
Mhm.
free, kind of like the 60s, but it was the 20s. So I just thought that's just would have been perfect if cell phone there had been like a time travel. That'd
Yeah.
have been really cool. And then the outfits were elaborate. People were really getting into it. I mean, I'm thinking, where did you get this stuff, people? This was, I mean, it was just such a rich environment, and I think that's why it really affected me, because people put all the effort in. But I still had, I guess I did back up some because I took, some on
Uh-huh.
my other, I had some on my phone that didn't get backed up, so I still had something to remember those moments.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah, I like the black and white background with her kind of similar coloring in her clothes and the silver jewelry.
Yeah, and white.
Hmm.
It's not white on white, but
Yeah,
it is an
it
off
is.
white. If you overexposed in that area, it kind of would have not ruined it, but it would kind of been like an eyesore if it had a overexposed on that little shawl.
Hmm. Nice job.
But if you're looking at, I like the shadowing. That I don't know how that shadowing came across her arm like that, but it almost looks like a tattoo.
Oh my gosh, you know what I was just
Yeah.
looking? I had to zoom in. I'm looking at her jewelry and I see that the one that's closest to her wrist
Yeah,
looks like a silver kind of band, but zooming in I see it's paper.
Yeah, it's like
That's
it
the
what's
is. You're right. It looked like a gold loom, but
yeah.
it's actually like a entry. It
yeah,
was an
and
entry. Yeah, we had to.
admission.
Everybody had to get an entry, or it could be it came from the hospital 5150 band. Like
Right,
I'm
right.
very familiar with those, by the way. Well, moving right along.
Okay. Now this one's personal, Ken. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's my boy.
This is awesome. I mean, it's so simple, and yet we have these great lines in this photograph. I mean, everything, this is like one of those leading lines because we have the leading lines from the road leading up to this kid's face, right? And the leading lines from the building. But we have this great structure that of the child, the shadow, and then the building behind it.
Yeah,
And
that
it
shot,
all
that
just
shadow
leads
is.
to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that shadow by itself is pretty powerful because of course, it was I think it was about probably an 11 o'clock lighting
11 o'clock
coming
start to come.
from the east.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
what I
because
really like, the black blacks of the shadow, the darks in here are so dark. You know, like inside of the hood, the shadow, the left leg under the knee, and just those stark kind of blacks. And then the background is almost just like this um, palette of softness
Yeah.
with that
Yeah, you're
dark.
right. Yeah, that harsh juxtaposition between soft and hard lines. Because the carnal thing in photography is hard lines when you have flash, but I guess it makes sense in this one.
Yeah, it's great. And it really highlights the subject. Like there's sometimes a photograph can have competing subjects. Like that building could definitely be a competing subject, but because of the shadows, the darks versus the soft lights, it's really clear.
And by the way, my son, you cannot take he's a moving subject. I had to learn how to shoot him in motion. So this
Yeah.
actually it's an actual motion shot. So I have to move. Even to this day, I have to, even when I'm doing his hair, doing anything, I have to move with him. So a lot of my shots with him are, a bouquet of action in him. And
Oh, it's great.
yeah, I love shooting him, but it's a workout, and to capture him adjusting his sweat. I mean, yeah, it's a Time magazine because there's no way I could have get him to pose for that. He's no way, no way.
Oh, it's
Well,
great.
let's keep going because we got so many of you guys' wonderful photos.
We don't have to
Okay.
look at all of mine.
I want to look at yours. I'm like so stoked.
Oh, what perspective? Okay. Okay. Wait a minute.
Hey, Molly, that's an iconic statue.
It
One of the most famous around the world.
Wait a minute. Is this your photo, Mr. Rubes?
No.
This
That's
is
his town.
crazy. Okay, so I don't know. I don't know what to do. Should I be embarrassed?
Just to let you know, Molly, I was from, Norfolk, Virginia, but I moved to Chicago like 14 years ago. I
Uh-huh.
mean, yeah. So there's a hint.
Okay, so it feels sports related.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
it does actually.
I know it's kind of hard to tell because it looks
Or you're
distorted a
feeling
little bit.
stepped on, one of the two.
Michael Jordan.
Very good.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah. You zoomed in, you cheated.
No. Oh, wait, can I get that if I zoom in?
If you wanted to.
I think I'm looking at this statue from an angle it's not often looked at.
Yeah,
Am I right? Okay.
exactly. Exactly. And that's what he's trying to capture here.
Which is kind of great because it's like iconic if it's and I
Yeah. It's just never been viewed that way. I think he is
yeah.
probably the first photographer to ever do that. I've never seen anything like, from that point of view. But I've always seen it from the other, the usual, angle.
Details, if you're talking about flow state,
Uh-huh.
details is where we kind of get lost in our world. We're busy
Yeah.
on the move, but if you take the time, and I meditate and I do yoga, if you take the time to get into within details, are like, there's 16 principles that Maharishi Mahesh Yogi talks about, and he talks about the details and all little things are always a part of a bigger picture, and the bottom of a shoe of a famous dunk, the flight dunk, the jump man, is a shot no one cares or ever thinks about the bottom of a shoe. But Michael Jordan, is famous for his shoes, and every detail of his shoe is amazing. And the one that no one thinks about has a lot of details is the bottom of his shoe. You
And
know,
there is a lot of detail on there. It's like
there's
a
a lot
whole
of
little art piece on its own.
it is. You know, he has a Jumpman symbol. He has I couldn't I didn't sharpen it too much because I didn't want to create this almost halo around it with the sharpening. But yeah, there's a whole art piece in the front of the shoe and in the back of the shoe, and you know, of course, the 23 is in there, and that's the famous flight dunk Jumpman. And you got his hand and the lights and everything. But you know, again, I love angles, and
Yeah.
I don't, I guess when I don't go, oh my God, this shot's been shot this way. I just literally find, I just love details, and I love approaching things and with details that still tells a story. And just like when you do archaeology and everybody thought that everything in the world has been found, we haven't even scratched the surface in archaeology and finding all the amazing things of the past. And in a shot, we'll still never uncover everything in a shot until someone sees it. That's why I love, like you said, the perspective of
Mhm.
everyone is important. It's like every little piece makes the whole. And if we don't see it, someone's going to eventually.
And it's really a matter of really looking. I mean,
Right.
not just flipping through photos, which I mean, anybody who's ever been on Instagram, you go through Instagram, it's like, oh, nice, nice. I don't even think we look at it for a second and a half, if we're
Yeah.
really
And
interested,
to me,
and then we just keep going and going. But there's so much rich stuff out there. And like, I just pause, you know, pause, get off the hurry up train and pause for a minute
Mhm.
and really see. It's beautiful. And it changes the way you walk down the street and look at the world.
Yeah, and you think I cut off the leg, and I could have put, but I wanted that shoe, the bottom of his shoe to be the highlight. And I wanted to make sure his the 23 was in there so you at least have an idea.
Yeah.
But I didn't want it to be the most powerful thing. I wanted the art piece of his bottom of his shoe to be the powerful thing. And when you're looking at a shot and, in those split seconds, this is what you're going to capture and this is what you're going to hold for however long until someone else sees a different angle. So, yeah.
I like it
I'm
when
sure.
he's like jumping towards the light. I love that.
Yeah, that's true. Very powerful. And you know
Hmm.
what? Funny, I never got to see the statue when it was outside. So I come in when it's perfectly inside. And I happened to, when I shot that shot, I actually went to my first Bulls game when I was
Yes, you
shooting
did.
that because
Yes,
the
you did.
guy was like, do you know the game is starting? And I was like, I wasn't even going there to go see the shot. I was going there to shoot the statue. I ended up seeing it was a game between. This is when Butler was on, and it was for the Clippers and the Bulls. And then the next night, I went and saw the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
But it was because of this statue that I ended up seeing the games.
And Ken, that was the first time I've seen you in how many years? That's when you came by
Oh yeah.
Chicago when you were a truck
Yeah,
driver,
so many years. Yeah, we
Bunch of
go
years.
back. We go back a bunch of years.
like maybe 27, 28 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, now he's getting specific.
Oh man, he told us. Oh my God, now I'm old man. Let's
Keep
get to the good stuff.
All right. Now that is good stuff right there, Ken.
I had no
Oh,
idea. That was not a. I didn't set that up, Molly. I really didn't set that up.
oh my. I don't, what is this pollutant?
Mm,
Feels like pollutant. It, it feels like, I mean, there are two things I'm looking at. I feel like we
uh-huh.
have these bottles with I mean, it could be gasoline, it could be iced tea. I don't
Yeah.
know, it could be beer. And then the windmills,
The turbine windmills.
the fence, there's like I'm starting to see a theme with the style. Lots of texture.
The rocks are really standing out.
Mm-hmm. And we have this sort of triangle of the
Yeah,
color, the
you're
yellow.
right. The triangle that goes back into the corner.
Well, no, I'm seeing the triangle from the green cap. Oh man. I mean, the more
Oh
you
yeah,
look, and then you have this, I guess it's a sign, or in the background, it says maybe assortments behind
Yeah.
that first, the center windmill,
Must be a billboard.
a billboard or something.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, that's where my eye is going. I'm going from one jug to the sign to the other jug. And then I just have, that's the circle that my eye's going in.
yeah. When normally you're kind of going in a zigzag, this one was like an eyeball,
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
hypnotizing thing.
What is it?
So this is actually urine.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of funny how I said, let's get to the good stuff. And then this comes up. So truck drivers have a very bad habit of, and this is, let me say the positive things first before I get into the negative things. Positively, we are on the road 24/7 and we do have a 14-hour clock, but we're really only getting 4 hours of sleep out there and we are living in our trucks and we don't have bathrooms in the trucks. They should, but we don't. And but there, the negative aspect are truckers get a little lazy. And the reason why I shot this shot, because I wanted to tell a story of how we live in a truck, but how there's lazy ones. The trash can, if you look at the very tip of the picture on the right, there's a trash can like 30 feet away, and he could have thrown it in a trash can, but they didn't. This is in Wyoming, and it's a TA, and it's one of the biggest ones. But we get a little lazy out there, and some guys just leave it. And but you can't blame them because most of the time we're extremely tired. So I put a truck that's on the freeway in the background to really tell you don't know it's a trailer, um, but a truck's in there to depict that this is the life. This is our lives. And the
yeah.
colors, you know, are just there to kind of highlight the fact that, that is a gallon jug. And that billboard, I actually wanted to one day put this on a billboard because I wanted to actually say that, no, this is why we get the bad rap. And this is why Walmart
Yeah.
won't let us park it, because truck drivers get real nasty.
Hmm.
There's guys who actually cut a hole in their seat and take craps directly into
Oh,
their
wow.
seat, right? Like it gets real strange out there. So
It gets real strange out
it
there.
gets
That's
super
funny.
strange. You would have, there's a one guy that was dancing at the steering wheel while the truck was driving.
Oh
He did
my
a
God.
full 360 because you could stand up in the truck. He did a full 360 while and it was filmed. I'm like, these guys are insane. Like the things we do. So I just wanted to put a billboard out there. So just
It
to kind
really
of,
wants me to be a more careful driver.
yeah, because and I'm not gonna say it's because we're professionals, but unfortunately, I mastered the art of dozing off to where I can know when exactly I'm going to park off because we
My
have
God.
such,
That's
yeah, we
scary.
have, it is, and it's one of the reasons why I don't drive, because a lot of companies will actually take that um, and manipulate it because they know, oh, you're a top driver, you're always out there pushing it. But yeah, we're pushing it at levels that are not human, that are
Yeah.
not, we're not meant to drive that and not, drive for 8 hours, then take only a 30-minute break. And really, when you're in a 30-minute break, you're still working, putting gas in. We're defying gravity out there. And this bottle really depicts, you know, our on the go life. But at the same time, it gives us this negative light with these, with these trucking stops, our truck stops in Walmart. So it was, to depict us in a good light, but also, hey guys, you can't just fucking leave bottles 20 feet from the trash can.
Right.
So yeah, it was a powerful shot that people would be grossed out about, but
Well, I didn't know what it
perfect
was.
picture of
Like
everything.
you don't know. I mean, unless you really
Yeah, live
know.
the life.
It could have been anything, but to me, it's felt like some kind of pollutant. I felt like this is, but now I know what it is, and
Well, you're actually
I
right.
have a whole different look at it.
You're actually right. It is a pollutant because the fact that it's out and the guys that actually, pick up trash, they have to pick this stuff up and put it in the trash can. And it's sad because it is polluting. It's polluting and it's littering and it's disgusting. And once it sits there for a while, it's ammonia. It's pollution,
Hmm.
at a certain point. So I'm a real big person when it comes to, our environment and respecting the environment for time to come. And it's what I got mad about with truck driving, but I also understood because, I have to use a restroom in a bottle too, except I throw it away like a responsible adult, I guess. But moving right along.
Yeah, I don't want to look at this photo anymore. Here's another one. And this is okay. Oh, this is great. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil.
Yep.
That's what it looks like.
In Sin City.
Yeah. I
That's
miss that
great.
sweater. That's
That
actually that's an all in one shot pose too.
Oh.
I directed it because I couldn't snap the picture, but
Uh-huh.
it's interesting that you didn't get injured with all those flames around you.
I know. I was like, I had to have the fire marshals, come and inspect things to make sure I didn't burn down the building.
Or yourself.
But I do love post production because I can go do so many things.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the grassroots origin of the shot, it's just literally the background's black. And the beautiful thing about photography is that you don't even have to have a black background. If you know the technicalities of a camera, you can actually create a black background in light. So ironically, it's in a studio, and I wanted to do just that without having. I wanted to create my own black background, so when I go in post production, I can easily lift it and put it without having to mask. So it was easy able to be lift and throw it and add the flames and whatnot. But I
Uh-huh.
just love that
I
I
like
was
the
able to do.
shape of the whole thing. It's like this star shape.
Yeah, it almost looked like the
And
Star of
and you
David.
have to kind of look at it. It's
Yeah.
like
It is
this,
like a
it's
star.
like this, and like this, right? So you have, and it's very uniform, which is cool.
Yeah, I again, and I think it's an autistic thing, lining things up. I'm very classic like that with it, lining things up perfectly, and if it doesn't, it literally bothers me to no end and gives me anxiety. So,
Mm-hmm.
But you
um,
know what's really cool about this is that we see that this guy is this guy's or same guy, but then
you're right.
the first guy, I mean, the Speak No Evil version, I can't, could almost be, if you just glance at it, it almost looks like he's going like this.
Yeah. Oh my God, you're right.
And
Yeah.
so that was like the first thing I saw. It's like this crazy optical illusion of which arm belongs to which face.
Yeah, yeah, if you look at it real close, you can start seeing it. But yeah, you have to kind of. It's the reason why when I take I don't like to use the word take when I capture a moment, I'm literally trying to make a person stay longer and make them puzzled. Because I never wanted to like you to go, oh yeah, that's cool. It's cool, but if
Like
you
that
look at it,
skateboarder. Like the
yeah,
skateboarder. Like he's there in, I mean, and that's all photography. If you're capturing something quickly. Your son in perpetuity, there he is in that stance on that
Mhm.
edge of the concrete, and with that shadow. You're
Yeah, and as many times as I
yeah,
saw this shot, go. I'm sorry.
that's it. I mean, I'm done. That it's just forever now.
Yeah, as many times as seen it. For me, I've seen it and I've done it, but when we and this capacity, that's why I'm really gonna, look more into PhotoJam. It actually makes me appreciate my own stuff because I don't. I just shoot and keep going. So, like, yeah, this is stuff that really no one does, but this is the art to me of it. Like, yeah, let's have some fun. You can do so many things with light, so many. You could bend light if you want to. And I know how to do it. I have a technique that where you bounce light and then you can make it look like you're floating on the ground even though you were standing. So it's just so many cool things that you can do that no one takes the time to really um, to do because maybe it's not popular, but who cares? It's so much fun.
Again, was this
Mhm.
done on Photoshop?
The background was,
Mm.
but the poses is all in camera.
Oh, nice.
It was a two take, so I did it once and then I did it again because the arms weren't parallel,
Hmm.
and I know I
Oh,
could have.
there he is with his perfectionism.
Yeah, I couldn't let that one. Yeah, I couldn't let that angle be off until I got it right. So had her do it again. She was like, "Yeah, I got to do mine too." I was like, "Yeah, just one more. I swear to God, it's 30 seconds, man."
We
Well,
could
let's.
make this. We've been doing this a long time. We could make this, we could do a part two of this,
Yeah.
Yeah, we
right?
can.
What do y'all
And
think? I mean, we've almost come to 2 hours
we
of talk.
have, and I didn't know mine were going to be first, so I was expecting mine to be last.
Oh,
But so we could really like do. I just love doing this, and this is what I do on Thursdays, at PhotoJam. You kind of inspiring me. I should do my own podcast with the jam, but I haven't embraced that yet. But like I usually do one photograph per person, and
hmm.
it is really interesting to do this many because I'm really starting to see your style and the nuances that speak to your vision. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's funny enough, one of the most things I think about in my style was more of like hyper realism. But most of it, just like when I write my music, it's all improv. I don't
Oh
sit
yeah.
there and plan shots. I just go, "Oh yeah, I like this. I'm just gonna do this," and but hyperrealism is what I like because it's like it just jumps at you, like
Yeah.
and that's considering it's not extremely hyperreal. It's just enough to where you're just like, whoa, what the heck is going on here? But yeah, let's keep moving. I guess we can just make these 15 minutes go.
That just is, it's so soft. It feels
Yeah.
so soft.
Yeah, it does.
It's the first word that came to my mind when this popped up. Soft.
Yeah, that the shoulder specifically is just kind of like a nice lead in for the face.
And it's
Yeah.
not, I love how it's kind of off-centered and the one shoulder's kind of, not, there's a lot of angles going on here that you don't see at first. Just
Yeah.
like really subtle, really soft.
I like
Yeah,
how the light brings details to her hair, especially towards the front.
yeah,
See really a lot of detail there.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
you,
that's where we have that beautiful texture, right?
Uh huh.
yeah. That I like the light coming off. from the forehead down the neck. It's a very subtle
Oh yeah.
cascading like a light, almost like a waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
The angles. Like if you can I give this a squint? This is what I say a lot in PhotoJam. It's like give it a squint. And what really is that you can see that light cascading down.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and that's one of the more pronounced is that as a cascading of light around the forehead, down the face. It's like literally like a waterfall almost in a way. I gotta scoop my picture out because my picture is blocking uh, fun about doing podcasts on your cell phone.
It's almost a painting, like you know, it feels almost like it could be an oil painting. The
Yeah.
way the shades of light and color in the face. And it's
Yeah,
all about the light, really. But I feel like it could be, how many colors are in on that paintbrush. This is what I'm just thinking. It's so soft and it's just beautiful. The lighting is soft. This one really is grabbing me.
Yeah, this one's one of my favorites out of his photo set.
Yeah, very nice.
yeah. That's my oldest daughter. She's graduating San Diego State University, and ironically, she's a model.
How old is oh, well, she knows how to work it.
She's
How old
beautiful.
is she in this photograph?
She's probably like 16, you
Ah,
know? And her mom didn't really want her to get into modeling, but she kind of was like, "Oh, okay, I'll go for doctor." But she runs really close on my side of the family with people that are creative, and she wanted to do modeling, but more she wanted to do fashion, but do the fast fashion, the people making all these wonderful things at the expense of the labor of people not getting paid and conditions and stuff that we've evolved from. We're still doing it, and it's sad. But
right.
yeah, she's the funny thing looking. I used the gold key light, um, and
You had a
it was
gel on there?
actually it's an umbrella light, but the light
Uh-huh.
bounces off the gold umbrella back onto her skin. And I'd never used it. I set the studio up at home. One of
That's
those
why you
Amazon.
got all those beautiful tones in her face. Oh,
Yeah.
it's great. Oh, it's just great. I love it, love it, love it. Love
Yeah. I
it.
never thought about using, but that's what they provide. I was like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna, again, my whole style is improv. And, um, my daughter has a very like baby face even to this day. But she's always wore locks until she cut them off like last year. But that gold lighting was something I just wanted to use to kind of highlight, her skin.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's
Yeah,
fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, you can't put that
thank
on
you.
PhotoJam.
This is a lot of my earlier stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What
moving
did
right
you
along.
can't put it on the photo jam?
What's that?
No,
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, Ken should put that on the PhotoJam. That should be his first picture he should put in the PhotoJam.
I'll ask my daughter. I mean, she'll totally do it because she's
Uh-huh.
modeling, but I don't want her to be like, I don't like that one. I'm
Oh.
like,
Oh.
sweetheart, this is one of your like best. How people, she has that perfectionist stuff too. I'm like, gosh,
Oh, okay.
like,
Wonder where she gets that.
no idea. Maybe for her mother, I don't know. Her mother's like a very, very fashionable person too. So who knows? But
Oh,
moving right along.
oh man. Is that the same guy?
No, this is actually another. I think it was either the same day or a different day at the skate park, and you know, as you can see, I love grayscale shots, and it was
Yeah.
powerful because he was at the very top, and sometimes it's hard to get a nice standing shot at that angle, and it looks like he's just standing there, stuck like he wanted to pose that way. But
Well,
yeah,
let
he
me
was in
point
motion.
out the the blacks and the shadow and the sneakers and the jeans, and then the black dripping down off the side of um the ramp. And I mean, I'm just like seeing a theme here, but you cut off his hand.
Yeah, and then yeah, I cut off his
It's
hand.
the same
I
in
don't
the as
know
that
why I
other
do
one,
that.
right?
I guess I was really thinking about him standing that.
Mhm.
I mean, the way he stands, it was not because usually when you're in that you're stupid a little lower. But I really wanted to focus on the Thrasher. That was one of the brands growing up
Oh yeah.
that the Thrasher magazine shots, and these are the kind of shots that were in the magazine.
Hmm.
And I was
Oh,
just channeling that
great.
energy. Yeah,
Well, I mean, I think that that would be really difficult to dictate in this shot and the last one of the skateboarder that you had, that to really say, okay, I'm going to compose this just because it's like a flash. It's a
yeah,
flash. There's an instant that he's in this position, and yeah, whoops, I didn't get the hand, but it's really kind of, you don't, it's almost like you don't need it because you have it in full form but in the shadow.
yeah. And technically, in Mr. Morley, they talk about tension when you crop so tight. They
Mhm.
talk about the tension or you cut off a thing. But when he talked about cropping, and this is not cropped much, I usually crop in camera. So when I'm
Mhm.
shooting, and I mean it when I say this, all these things are happening at a nanosecond. I can actually break down time in that second, almost like your life is flashing before your eyes. And I can see him standing. I can see, okay, his hand is cut off, but I like that rim, and I like more of the fact that he's dipped into the pool and standing up. So it's almost like I've made this decision and cropped all in one action, and boom, hit the button.
Yeah.
That's how it literally goes in my head when I'm shooting.
It's,
It's like this
I
whole
mean,
conversation.
you find these beautiful compositions after the fact, right? I'm sure that you're not like capturing this and going, oh, wait, because it's only like you said, a nanosecond. But then
No,
when
I
you go
actually
back,
am. I promise you. I sometimes when you shoot and
uh-huh.
shoot and you happen to get something, my daughter, she'll always tell me, she goes, Dad, you could take more than one shot. I was like, but I can't because I'm so into the shot that I'm getting that I don't know if I'll be able to get it if I click it like that, and I might get too much movement. So
Hmm.
in a split second, this is what's happening. So I have a very good what's they call it, not intuition, but a very good uh, action eye where I can I can compose so many things in a very split second.
You sort of
Um,
have to anticipate, and I guess you can do that.
yeah,
But I, the
it's not
framing of
something
this,
I didn't think was a talent, but I just look at it like I'm looking for this and I have to get this. Like that's all I'm thinking.
I like the framing of this as well. We have this like coming down the top of the ramp on the top right corner, and then that great shadow on the echoing the top on the bottom right, which
Yeah.
just puts him in that little sliver. Love it.
I like how you captured each skateboarder's moment
Yeah.
Yeah, I had this one
while
shot.
suspended.
Yeah, I didn't put all the skateboarding ones because
Uh huh.
I had one of my buddy. I had a lot of them that day, but there's one where I think I have it in there or may not, but he's looking down into the pool like the great abyss.
Hmm.
And when you think about my training and how the people that I'm looking at, because my I'm sorry, I guess I would say my Photoshop teacher, she said always research the greats or the greatest you can in what you want to depict when you're doing your Photoshop, and
Hmm.
then come back down and be inspired by that. So when I looked at the greats, I'm always looking at any, Annie Leibovitz and Ansel Adams. What would they have done in this
You know,
moment?
this one feels very Henri Cartier-Bresson to me, who's this decisive moment. He did a lot of street photography. He was a French
Okay.
photographer, but he did a lot of street photography, and he had this whole thing on the decisive moment. And I mean, clearly what you have mastered in this photograph is that decisive moment
I
when
didn't know
he
it was called that. What is the name of that gentleman?
Cartier-Bresson,
Oh,
Cartier hyphen Bresson.
Cartier-Bresson. Yeah, I'll look that up. I didn't
Cartier-Bresson.
know it was called a decisive moment, but the way I
That's
explain
what
it,
he called it. That was his thing. It wasn't like not necessarily, but that was what he called this. And interestingly enough, I don't think he actually, I think some of those decisive moments were set up.
you know what? Yeah, and the funny thing is, I think of myself as more of a documentary photographer because if you talk about weddings or things that are set up, that means you're looking for that and you're willing to take 80 shots to get it. But in
Mhm.
my mind, I don't have 80 shots because this guy doesn't even know I'm shooting him.
Oh, really?
I'm just out there, like looking because again, may sound selfish. Like on my social media, I'm
Hmm.
not looking for followers. I'm just loving to think of my editing and telling a story, and that's it. So in my mind, I'm out there depicting, and most times when a skater sees anybody shooting, they're at their best because if you and I'll show them, hey, they're looking to be their best too. So it's a decisive moment for both of us.
Well, I like that you said that about the photographers study the greats. And we have in PhotoJam, I don't know if you noticed that we have like the different jam journeys. Did you see that at all?
I
So
No, I didn't, but I kind of read your description, so I haven't gotten a chance to really dive in.
so the jam sessions, we do like the PhotoJam every week, and people come in and share their just like this, but just one photo. And and then we also have jam journeys, which we offer. We just started. So right now we're in the middle of one. Our next jam journey is going to be shooting for design. And so we're going to be looking for the design elements, shape, color, texture, those design elements. And you'll go on a journey with the other people in it, and then we come together and share our work on, at PhotoJam. Anybody really is invited to PhotoJam, but if you're in the journey, you'll be following these cues. Um,
Yeah, and
and then
I'm more into I'm more into studying other people's stuff because I like being inspired. So it's really ironic that
yeah,
mines are first because I kind of like let's I'm usually last in the class. I don't let's put mine at the back, but I really appreciate you
yeah.
guys'
No, I would. I'm going to
input.
be doing at the last quarter of the year. So we have the one we're doing now, and then we have shooting for design. Then we're going to do abstract concepts. And then the last one of the year is going to be the master photographers, where we're going to like each week we'd focus on a different master photographer. So you can really get a lot of information. Anyway, it's just part of the Jam Journeys programs that we have. But I agree with that so much that you really get inspiration from the masters and the greats, and you see what they do to,
Well, I'll put it this way, and we can again have a part two. I
yeah,
don't I don't consider the masters to be I consider them they probably like me modest and I'm just shooting. I consider the greats the ones who actually just want to get out there and capture. So I'm more inspired by people that don't really call themselves the great or anything like that. They just love to shoot. And that gentleman that was in the shot, he just loved to shoot. And we just both iron sharpening iron and we're out there just loving it. And that's the reason why I'm able to even say, oh, that's a great shot, because I'm out there being inspired by Molly or Rubes like that. So I call you guys great because you guys just love what you do. So I'll wrap up the segment, at 2 hours. Normally we do like an hour and 30 minutes, but I really enjoyed what I really enjoyed about this segment is the fact that you that's another powerful shot, but I enjoy the way you lay this out to take the time. And one of the biggest things that are anxiety for me is that I've been called slow, and I do that because I can't help but be into details and do things the right way. So if you want to call it the right way. But
The way you see it,
yeah,
right? And no one
exactly.
sees it like you do.
Yeah,
And that's
so
what makes it so exciting and visionary. It's your vision,
I'll let
right?
this be the last one so we can, because I know you have an amazing schedule and things to do, but
Yeah,
you know,
Who needs hands? These are great. Now these are all yours.
that's
yeah,
all
these are all
his.
mine.
I can show you mine's
Again,
in a snap. I can just show you boom, 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 and then
No, no,
you
no,
yeah,
no,
just
no. Don't. I
no,
think you should
no.
save it. I think you should save it for part two
Uh
so
huh.
we can talk about it.
yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, because Molly, the way she sets this up is the actual taking of the time. So if we go in back into everybody else the way they do it, then we're going to lose it. But just this is a stitch shot.
Yeah.
Uh, it's a panoramic, but it's a stitch shot, so it has a full other side. But yeah, I had this vision of showing this to the Department of Parks and Recreation. I never did, but I just had this vision of it. But it's a stitch shot of about 90 photos.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
yeah, it takes time, and you got to actually when you're putting it there, you got to actually make sure everything lines up. So when you look in the picture, it's like, why is that tree hanging off the ocean?
It's so great, this color of the water, the different
This
colors of the water.
I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but that's Big Sur.
Oh
Um,
yeah, Big Sur in California.
yeah,
Uh
and
huh.
that waterfall actually comes off and flows into the ocean like that. It's so like by itself, almost untouched like, by humans or something. It's very cool.
I like that
Wow.
little waterfall in the middle there. It looks little from what we're seeing it, but I know it's.
Yeah, I was just zooming in on that, and then I saw your little cursor going up and down. What? He's looking at the exact same thing I am. This is great. This has
Yeah, that's
been,
the waterfall the standalone waterfall that pours back into the ocean. It's small there, but it's huge when you're looking at it. Because I was pretty far back. That's why I had to do so many shots to actually depict the scene properly.
well, this has been really great fun, and I'm so happy that that you had me on, and I'm honored and
Oh, we're
Oh
honored
my
to have you
thank
God.
too.
you, thank you. I
Thank
That
think this
those
has
you.
been great.
Yeah, I mean, so
Can't wait
for
for
the
part
followers,
two.
yeah,
Yeah.
so for the followers that are following and anybody's listening today, PhotoJam is a place where you can actually be new. You could have picked up your phone or a camera that
Yeah,
just yesterday or 2 minutes ago and not be judged and just have your perspective. Because if you, one of the biggest things of this planet is love and understanding, and if we all just felt loved and understand, we can actually blossom. So I really applaud you for creating a space
thank you.
that allows everybody to feel loved and accepted, because I feel chill bumps now because that's one of the biggest reasons why my mental health, because I had this big energy and these photos really are a big piece of me. So I feel very welcome in your presence to be able to just, show these. So
There it is.
we got PhotoJam, the place where you feel loved, the website.
I
Can you
mean,
tell them about
it
can you
does
tell us
take
about the
some,
website?
I mean, it takes a little bit of vulnerability, I think. People that come to PhotoJam, I everybody feels a little nervous the first time they come. But once you do it,
Hmm.
I'm just like, just trust me. It's great and it's going to be good. And once you're there, it does feel good.
Well, I want to give you the opportunity to, even though we went to 2 hours, I want to give you, and honestly, this could be a two-part just on this one, but give us, plug whatever you want in this, so you
Yeah.
can,
Oh,
'cause
thank you.
yeah, this is about you because you're the one providing this platform for us to be able to feel loved and understood. So yeah,
You
plug
know what?
away.
Go back to the homepage, Mr. Rubes,
Okay.
and if you just look, so this is where you will learn all about the jam. If you
Oh,
do arrow over, then this is where you'll see some of our pages, like who we are, and this is kind of brand new, so I think there's only like a dozen people on there.
okay.
Keep going, and then this is
Oh,
the
nice.
little mini course I was talking about, and these
Mm,
little snacks are free. You can keep
I
going.
love the minimalist look of I love minimalism. It's very beautifully simple and
yeah.
pleasing to the eye. So that's an amazing thing when it comes to web design. So I love the setup.
Thank you. And then we have all right, this is the jam, and anybody can come and join the jam, meet your people, get feedback. And we do meet Thursday nights, but I'm looking to open up another spot on hopefully Sundays.
Do photographers actually kind of meet up in person and do kind of what my classmate did, just kind of go out there and inspire each other?
We we would do so like I said, this was born in COVID, so there was only
Oh,
Zoom.
okay.
And because it was Zoom, we were able to have people from all over, and we still have people from all over. But once things started opening up, we did have a small local group that would get together here in my studio, and I have painted one of the walls in my studio with that like screen paint with the glitter in it, or it's all hyper white. So when you project on it, it's a lot clearer.
Well, since Johnny is over there closer to you, as a truck driver, I've traveled all but probably two or
No,
three
wait,
states.
Where are you, Johnny?
I'm actually in the Chicago area.
Okay, well, that's not
Yeah.
close to me.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not
If I was in
close. It's
Virginia, then
closer than
maybe I would be
me.
closer. Yeah.
You're in
You-
California right now?
yeah, you guys are about 2,700 miles from me, and he's about 1,900. So, what I meant is we can actually probably do a podcast from your studio one of these days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I would
then,
love to actually have like a session live. Again, not 2 hours, but a full setup and how PhotoJam works, because this is a phenomenal platform for people to actually be able to be themselves
yeah,
and not feel like they have to measure up to something. So I think it deserves a real live setup. And I'd be willing to travel there. We can just have fun
Yeah, that would be
thank
great.
you.
If you
in
don't
my
mind me
truck
asking,
too.
Molly,
Yeah.
did you do the artwork behind you?
This artwork,
Yeah. Any one of those?
this is my daughter's. This
Oh,
is
nice,
morning. This is night.
nice.
Oh, nice. I'm looking at the minuscule little thumbnail here. It looks like a state of Texas.
I just love these two. I love them together. And this is the journeys I was talking about. So you can become a member and you can get on these journeys where you get a lesson every week. And on, you could do it like just take the lessons and do with them what you will. You can bring them
Uh-huh.
to PhotoJam, which is like your accountability partner, and inspiration and feedback. It's so much good stuff. I love it. I just love this.
Well, Johnny,
Thank
tell
you.
get some feedback on social media.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we will. I don't know. We didn't tell Molly this, but we are actually
Uh-oh.
on Facebook Live while we're doing this, while
My God.
we're making this episode. So now you'll have a newer audience get to know more about PhotoJam. So yeah, that's gonna work out for you.
Oh my gosh.
There you go,
Oh my
everyone.
God.
PhotoJam.net.
And where
.net.
can we find you on social media, Molly?
Yeah.
PhotoJammers. We're on Instagram as PhotoJammers.
Photo
Okay.
Jammers. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a motorcycle club or something.
I
I can see myself in my Harley with big
we're
photo
not
jam camera.
It's really interesting because it's like someone described PhotoJam as like Instagram, but in real life.
Oh, nice. So literally, this is a social media platform, that, like literally at the grassroots.
But really, like a lot of the people, including myself, I'm not very good. I mean, active in social. Like, I feel so shy every time I post something on
Oh yeah.
the socials, just on my personal sites. Like, if I post something, it's very infrequent, and it takes a day of courage for me to press that post button.
Well, I mean, Johnny has I'll be honest with you, Johnny has in a ways kind of tricked me into
I
hosting, and
like,
because I've been in the background too, so I'd be more than happy to nudge you toward the podcast or whatever. But I would like to
thank
thank
you.
you for coming, and thank all the followers for following us in this little journey today. And subscribe, please, to the 2400 block, and thank you for hanging at the block with us.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Peace out.
Thank you so much, y'all.
Thanks for checking out this episode of 2400 Block Podcast. Don't forget to follow and subscribe.